the erasure of wealth. In 1921, an entire Black Wall Street was burned to ashes, over 300 murdered, 10,000 left homeless. This was not a natural disaster, it was a calculated act of annihilation, a violent, furious erasure of prosperity. Imagine a community so successful, so self-sufficient, it became a beacon of hope. Now imagine that beacon extinguished by a deputized mob. Its flames consumed homes, businesses, lives. The history books for decades remained silent, a conspiracy of forgetting. And Tulsa was not alone. It was a pattern, suppressing, stealing, silencing. Today we say their names, we unearth the stories of 7 black millionaires they tried to erase. Our story begins with a woman who built an empire from the scalp up, Madame C.J. Walker. She is remembered as America's first self-made female millionaire, a title etched in history. But the journey to that title was paved with hardship, ingenuity, and unyielding determination. She was born Sarah Breedlove in 1867 on a Louisiana plantation, the first of her siblings born into freedom, but freedom did not mean ease. Orphaned at 7 and married at 14 to escape abuse, her early life was a relentless struggle for survival. For nearly 2 decades, she worked as a laundress, earning pennies a day. The grinding labor and harsh lye soaps took their toll. Like many black women of her time, she suffered from severe dandruff and scalp ailments that led to devastating hair loss. Her health and her confidence were failing, but Sarah refused to accept her fate. She didn't just stumble on a formula, she forged one through experimentation in her own kitchen. She studied the products already on the market, including those of another pioneer, Annie Malone, for whom she briefly worked as a sales agent. She learned, adapted, and created something uniquely hers. Her wonderful hair grower wasn't just a product, it was a solution, a system of hair care specifically made for black women, a vast and eager market that white-owned companies had completely ignored. With her new husband, Charles Joseph Walker, providing the marketing savvy, Sarah Breedlove reinvented herself. She became Madame C.J. Walker, the person she decided to be, a brand, a promise. She didn't just sell products, she created entrepreneurs. The Walker system was a revolution. She recruited and trained an army of Walker agents, women who went door to door, selling hope in a jar. For many, it was their first chance at economic freedom. Thousands of women, once confined to domestic service, gained financial independence through her network, earning far more than they ever could as maids or laundresses. The empire grew exponentially. By 1919, Madame C.J. Walker was worth over $1 million, making her one of the wealthiest black Americans of her time. Her success wasn't just financial, it was symbolic. She built Villa Lawaro, a 34-room Italianate palace in Irvington, New York, beside the estates of Rockefeller and Jay Gould. This was more than a home, it was a monument. Every piece of limestone and marble declared, "I am here." A black woman, born to former slaves, built this, "I earned this." But even in her triumph, history tried to credit others, her husband, male business associates, or her former mentor, to diminish her brilliance and erase her agency. But the records don't lie, patents in her name, payrolls for thousands, a nationwide force of women she personally empowered. This was a name not given, but earned. Yet, to fully understand Walker's story, we must acknowledge the giant whose shoulders she stood upon. Before Walker, there was Annie Turnbow Malone. Born in 1869, Malone was a natural chemist with a passion for hair care. While others used harsh petroleum and goose fat that damaged the scalp, she developed a line of non-damaging straighteners, oils, and stimulants that actually healed and promoted growth. She moved to St. Louis, a booming hub of black commerce. At the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair, her Poro brand exploded onto the national stage. Malone built more than a company, she built an institution. Her Poro College was a 5-story complex housing factories, a beauty school, offices, an auditorium, and a rooftop garden. It was a beacon of black excellence, providing training, business opportunities, and a vibrant community hub, all under one roof. At its zenith, her fortune peaked near $14 million, over $200 million today. She employed 75,000 agents across the Americas and the Caribbean, and she gave lavishly, becoming one of the era's greatest black philanthropists. She funded orphanages, schools, and was a major benefactor to Howard University's Medical College. But her empire was vulnerable. A bitter divorce battle saw her husband attempt to claim half of her business. Racist courts, unwilling to acknowledge a black woman's sole ownership of such a vast enterprise, drained her fortune in legal fees. Then the Great Depression dealt a crushing blow, wounding the empire she had so meticulously built. The system stripped her of her wealth, and for decades, her story was largely erased, overcome by the shadow of her more famous protege. But her legacy as the true pioneer endures. Today we reclaim her name. The ashes of Greenwood rose from the vision of one man, O.W. Gurley. In 1906 he bought 40 acres to sell only to black families. He built the first boarding house and financed entrepreneurs. Soon, the wealthiest black community in America. Over 300 businesses, banks, hotels, theaters, medical and law offices, newspapers, Black Wall Street, A false allegation lit the fuse. Deputized, armed, and unleashed. 24 hours of terror. Incendiaries may have fallen from the sky. Loot, torch, repeat. Men, women, and children hunted. 35 blocks charred. Over 300 murdered. 10,000 homeless. New laws blocked rebuilding. Insurance claims denied. The economic heart ripped out. Gurley lost his fortune and faded into obscurity. Oklahoma textbooks omitted the massacre for decades. They tried to erase him. They failed. Remember O.W. Gurley. In the ashes of the Civil War, new titans of industry were forged, but some of their stories have been buried by history. Consider Robert Reed Church, Sr. Born into the brutality of slavery, his life was a testament to impossible resilience. During the 1866 Memphis Massacre, a horrific 3-day wave of racial terror, Church was shot and left for dead, but he survived. That harrowing experience didn't break him, it galvanized him. With just $50, he bought his first piece of property on Memphis's Beale Street. It was a declaration of intent. He bought saloons. Then, in a move of pure genius, he bought the land under them. He understood that true power wasn't just in commerce, but in ownership. He was methodical, strategic, and utterly fearless, accumulating a vast real estate empire in the heart of the Jim Crow South. By 1906, he founded the Solvent Savings Bank, Memphis's first black-owned bank, capitalized with his own money. It was more than a bank, it was an engine for black economic liberation. It financed businesses, funded mortgages, and circulated black capital within the community, building collective wealth. He then built Church Park and Auditorium, a 6,000-seat venue for culture, politics, and community. A president, Theodore Roosevelt, visited and spoke there. A community thrived in a space built for them, by them. His daughter, Mary Church Terrell, became a civil rights titan, yet his own monumental name is too often omitted from the history he helped write. And on the West Coast, another legend was operating in the shadows, Mary Ellen Pleasant, the mother of California civil rights. A master of disguise and code switching, she worked as a domestic in the homes of San Francisco's elite, converting whispers overheard at dinner parties into shrewd investments. She built a diverse portfolio of laundries, dairies, and boarding houses, amassing a fortune worth an estimated $30 million in today's dollars. But her wealth was a weapon for justice. She secretly funded abolitionist John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry, tens of thousands in 1850s money. In 1866, nearly a century before Rosa Parks, she sued San Francisco streetcar companies for the right to ride, and won. Her power threatened the city's white elites, who smeared her in the press as a witch and a madam, twisting her business acumen into something sinister. The courts were weaponized to systematically steal her wealth. Her name, and her revolutionary legacy, were nearly erased. Remember Mary Ellen Pleasant, abolitionist, financier, and pioneer, a capitalist for the cause of freedom? While giants of the civil rights movement marched on the front lines, another kind of power was at work behind the scenes. This is the story of A.G. Gaston, the quiet strategist of the civil rights era. He understood that economic power was the bedrock of social change, a silent but formidable weapon in the fight for equality. His philosophy was forged in the coal mines of Alabama. See a need, fill it. Born in a log cabin, the grandson of enslaved people, Gaston started by selling lunches to his fellow miners. He saw his community lacked access to dignified burials, so he started collecting dimes and quarters from his co-workers. That humble collection plate evolved into the Booker T. Washington Burial Society, which became an insurance powerhouse. It wasn't just a business, it was a promise of dignity in life and death for a community systematically denied it. Next, he saw that black entrepreneurs couldn't get loans. So, he founded a bank, opening doors others slammed shut. The Citizens Federal Savings Bank became an engine for black homeownership and business creation in Birmingham, and when black travelers had nowhere safe to stay, he built the Gaston Motel. Its most famous suite, Room 30, became a war room for freedom. It was here that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Reverend Ralph Abernathy planned the pivotal Birmingham Campaign of 1963, a campaign that would change the course of American history. The motel became a target. After a 1963 bomb nearly killed Dr. King, Gaston rebuilt, undeterred, his resolve only hardened. While publicly urging caution, Gaston privately used his fortune to fuel the movement. He bailed hundreds of protesters out of jail, including the children brutalized by Bull Connor's forces. He funded operations and negotiated peace, bridging the gap between white business leaders and civil rights activists. When he passed away at the age of 103, he left an empire worth about $130 million, a testament to a lifetime of turning adversity into opportunity. Decades before Gaston, another visionary built an empire from nothing. Meet Biddy Mason. She walked out of bondage into legend. Enslaved from birth, she was forced to walk nearly 2,000 miles from Mississippi to California, herding cattle, delivering babies and acting as a midwife for her enslaver's caravan, all without pay. But California was a free state. With unimaginable courage in 1856, she sued for freedom, and won, not just for herself, but for 13 members of her extended family. Now, A free woman in her late 30s, she worked as a nurse and midwife, saving every dollar. 10 years later, with $250, she bought a plot on Spring Street, the heart of what would become downtown Los Angeles. She was one of the first black women to own land in the city. She held on to it, rented it, and invested wisely. Block by block, she built a real estate fortune of about $300,000 by the 1880s, equivalent to nearly $10 million today. Her wealth was a tool for her community. Known as the Angel of Los Angeles, she opened her home as a refuge, paid taxes and grocery bills for the poor, and co-founded the first African Methodist Episcopal Church, the city's first black church. Yet for nearly a century, this founding mother of Los Angeles was buried unmarked, until 1988, when her city finally set her name, erecting a proper headstone to honor her legacy. Remember Biddy Mason, Madam C. J. Walker, Annie Malone, O. W. Gurley, Robert Church, Mary Ellen Pleasant, A. G. Gaston, Biddy Mason. Their stories are not footnotes, they are foundational chapters in the American saga of resilience, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of freedom. This isn't just Black history, this is American history. To uncover more stories that shaped our world, subscribe to Fanuel Adonis.